What is up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, then it's just welcome to my channel and now welcome back. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button because you will not be disappointed unless, of course, you know, girl, you just don't get it. But the girls that get it and the guys that get it, they do. Today we will not be doing makeup. We will be doing skincare again because look at my pimple. One thing I don't do is play with my skin. When she try to act up a little bit, I pulls back on the unneeded cosmetics, okay? Because she is throwing a fit, I'm gonna cater to this girl while I talk to you about this case. Also, I hope you guys are doing well with everything that's going on, especially over in California. Like, what do you mean the city is on fire? Several of you I have spoken to on Instagram about, you know, your situation, if you okay or not. And so far, everybody that I've spoken to is doing well. Has not been affected, which is great, but prayers to those who have a different circumstance. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna go ahead first and start with these lips because I feel like my lips is dry. And I'm gonna use some topicals. I just got into topicals. I know it's like a little viral thing. I did not like the taste. And I know you ain't supposed to eat it, girl, but anything you coating your lips with, you're gonna taste. They work so well that, you know what, I've gotten used to it, okay? You can tell about the title what we're discussing today, so let me just go ahead and break it down. So in September of 1997, Latasha Renee Richardson is out minding her business when she runs into a guy named Zachary Sanders. Both of them are out walking in East Orange, New Jersey. When they run into one another, Zach was attracted to her, so he approaches her, and it is actually Latasha's birthday. And from this point on, I'm going to refer to her by her middle name, Renee, and you'll see why in a second. But it's to keep down confusion, honey. So it is her birthday, and she tells him that she is actually headed to the nail salon to get her nails done. And when she tells him this, he offers to not only walk her the rest of the way, but also pay for her services. From the time that they run into one another and they say their goodbyes for the day, the two of them have spent a whole hour talking just about life in general, what they have planned, and they exchange phone numbers with the expectation of seeing each other again after today. Renee is very attracted to Zach as well. He has a nice smile, he has dimples, you know, all of the things that attract her. He also has a really good outgoing personality. He's very social, does well at holding a conversation, and she is really liking talking to Zach. They go on several dates and things naturally progress between them into a relationship. According to Renee, very early on, she felt like he was the one and it was like they had known each other their whole lives. Everything about him felt almost perfect. She said she had prayed to God for him to send her a man, and she believed that this is the one that God handpicked, cherry-picked for her, and can't nobody tell her different. Now, 2 years into their relationship, Renee breaks the news to him that she is pregnant and they are expecting their first child together. And Zach is so excited to be a dad. When this baby is born, he is ecstatic and he loves everything about being a father. He loves the fact that his daughter looks like him, how silly she is, how much personality she has at a very young age. He takes her everywhere that he can with him. He's always showing her off and they're always having fun. Now, after another 3 years, Renee and Zach welcome a son, which is also very exciting for him. Their family felt like the perfect little unit. They have their son, they have their daughter. They're now living together in an apartment and all of the things are going well. And then Zach, who works at a cable company, develops a little flirtatious relationship with a coworker of his, Natasha White. And you see, that's why we have to call Latasha by her middle name, Renee, because I can't be going Latasha, Natasha back and forth and then confusing y'all. It's just too much. But I'm imagining that the closeness of their names really made it easy for Zach to keep up with, because he could have just called both of them Tasha and completely avoided slipping up. Now, what starts as them like flirting on the clock, making the day go by, little work husband, work wife type situation, quickly snowballs into a full-on affair. Natasha is well aware that he has a family at home and is still very much in a relationship with Renee, but apparently that was none of her concern, and the two of them have as many stolen moments as they can. So now Zach has 2 full-blown relationships that he is balancing, and Natasha, she knows that, you know, she comes second and she just has to accept the fact that he's not 100% available to her all the time, and she's okay with that. Sometimes it does irritate her. She will become jealous, she would get upset, they will argue, and then she would threaten to shed light on the whole entire situation, but then she would later smooth things over with him without doing so. So for the next 3 years, he has this relationship with Natasha on the side. Now in December of 2006, Zach has his eye on this Infinity He really wants this car. He is really into cars. He loves them. And this is one that like is his dream car. For whatever reason, he is not able to get it on his own. And Natasha, his side partner, whatever we gonna call her, she offers to co-sign and help him get this car. She leapt at the opportunity to help him obtain something that he was so passionate about, probably hoping to score her some brownie points, hoping that Shawty would swing a little bit more her way. Now, he might have given her a little thorough hunching after the fact, but he was very much still prioritizing his family over all else and keeping Natasha a secret. But he wasn't keeping her a secret from everybody, just a secret from Renee. Several of his family members and friends have all been introduced at one point or another, including his mother. He would take her sometimes to hang out, swing by people's houses with her in tow, and everybody just minded their business. But you know what they say about the things done in the dark. Renee starts having trouble with her vehicle. It is put into the shop, and during this time, she and Zach have to share that Infiniti. So one day, while looking for a napkin, she comes across the paperwork to the car inside of the glove box. She takes a peek at it and notices it is not just Zach's name on it, and there is a co-signer, Natasha White. And she is like, well, who is Natasha White? And according to Zach, Natasha is just a friend. He does have a lot of friends, both male and female. And so she accepts this as his answer, but it does stay in the back of her mind. It's like her gut told her that that was not all who Natasha was to him, but she drops it for now. Valentine's Day rolls around and Renee is hit with yet another surprise regarding Zach. Zach decides that they have been together now going on 10 years and he is ready to level up their partnership and get married. He proposes to her. She is excited, so she accepts. He got her this beautiful ring. The family is excited that they're getting married. The two get to planning their wedding right away, and they move out of the apartment that they have been in into a place right across the street from his mother, whom he is very close to. On any given day after work or on the weekends, he would, stop by and say hi. And after Zach proposed and they started planning their wedding, he really got into the space where he was ready to be a full-on committed husband, right? He was not carrying his cheating ways into the marriage. At least that is not his plan. So his next step is breaking things off with Natasha once and for all, and he is hoping that they can do so amicably, but Natasha is not quite ready to let this man go. And she has invested a lot into their relationship these past 3 years, at least that's how she feels. So for him to just be ready to cut her off like that and wash his hands of her, it just doesn't sit well with her. Granted, I don't know what you was expecting, girl. No, I can understand, not being quite ready to let him go, but what she does next is very weird. Now, I mentioned how he and Renee have now moved into a new place across the street from his mother. Well, guess who moved into his old apartment that he shared with Renee and the children? Natasha. Is that not insane? And to the person who told me to rub the excess like skincare products on my hands, I just want you to know that I have been wishing you well ever since I started seeing the difference in my cuticles and my hands, who always want to be dry and peeling and crackling. And I goes through tubes of cuticle oil, but they always manage to crisp up on me. Since I have been applying my excess products to my hands like this, like you said, moisturize the healthy cuticles. I wish you nothing but the best in life. I hope 2025 is your year. Now, living in his old place is crazy. Not only did I think so, Zach thought so, his friends also thought so, and it definitely gave Obsession and Zach himself, they starting to realize that mama ain't wrapped too tight. And once he decided to start pulling away from Natasha, she decided to try and establish even closer relationships with his mother, other family members, and friends that he had previously introduced her to. She even gets a job working as a bartender at a bar owned by either a very close friend of his or a relative, called Rubicon Pub, that Zach would frequently hang out at. Now, this makes Zachary increasingly paranoid that this relationship with Natasha is gonna bleed over into his situation with Renee. Her proximity to them is just way too close for comfort. She is calling his mother up, having conversations with her like they're friends, works at his cousin/friend's bar, lives in his old apartment. It's just all a bit too creepy. Mind you, she still works with him at the cable company. Baby, she like the air, okay? She's everywhere. And now Zach is becoming stressed out. And things become even more stressful for him when Renee, his fiance, receives a phone call from this unidentified person who won't reveal themselves, but they let her know that there's a photo of Zach and his coworker Natasha White all hugged up, and this photo is framed and on her desk at work. Now, they didn't want to be involved in the things, so they were like, look, I can't tell you anything else, but I think you should know that and keep an eye out for this girl. And Renee is like, why does this name sound familiar? And then it dawns on her that Natasha White is the same person that co-signed for that Infinity. When she confronts Zach about this, he does come clean about the affair, but swears up and down that it is over between them, that he is only committed to her and has no interest in anyone else. Now, Renee does forgive him, and the two of them agree to try to work past this issue, put it behind them, and move forward now that everything is out on the table. On the evening of March 31st, 2007, Renee goes to a friend's house to visit, hang out, have a good time, right? And at the same time, Zach decides that he's gonna go to Rubicon Pub, that same bar that he usually hangs out at. While there, at some point, because we know Natasha is working as the bartender, the two of them have words. Zach is now in a space where he doesn't want anything to do with her. He's annoyed at her mere presence. Because, girl, why are you always lingering in the background? He tells her he wants nothing to do with her. And this, like, trying to have these relationships with his loved ones, it's not going to work either. And Natasha, she disagrees. So they're going at it. They're arguing inside of this man's nice establishment, so much so that he tells them, look, y'all need to take that somewhere else. He fires Natasha right on the spot because, girl, you at work and you cussing like this. He tells her that she needs to leave the premises right now. And she and Zach, they continue their argument out in the parking lot despite the owner advising Zach not to follow her outside, to just stay behind, let her go. And at the same time that this is going on, Renee is saying her goodbyes to her friend. And instead of taking her usual route home, she takes a different route, one that brings her past Rubicon Pub. And of course, as she is passing by, she sees her fiance standing outside having a very spirited conversation with a woman that she does not recognize. And of course, we know this woman to be Natasha. So Renee pulls up in her Durango, and Zach sees his fiance. He approaches her vehicle. As he's doing so, Natasha is yelling to Renee that the two of them have been sleeping together for the past couple years, and they still are, and that this affair never ended as he had led Renee to believe. Zach is attempting to do damage control. He is denying that, basically saying that this lady was delusional and obsessed with him. Renee gets out of her Durango. The three of them are all standing in the parking lot at this point. After a few moments of them just arguing in the parking lot, Natasha goes and gets into her vehicle, her Lexus. And this is, of course, after she has made it known that she is the Natasha White and introduces herself formally to Renee. Zach is out there apologizing to his fiance, assuring her that he really did cut things off. Next thing they know, they hear an engine revving and then a crash. Natasha had not just gone to get in her car to leave. She got in her car and then rammed it into his Infinity. She then put her car in reverse and rammed the Infinity again. I guess she said, baby, you don't want me, you cannot have this car that I co-signed for either. Then Natasha pulls out of the parking lot, but like seconds later re-enters the parking lot, driving straight for Zach like she's gonna hit him. She actually would have hit him and Renee, but he grabbed Renee and they jumped out of the way like last minute. Now, after that, Natasha flees the scene, but they say call the police. The police actually get her on the phone and convince her to return to the scene. Natasha pulls back up, parking her car in the street and leaving it there. She gets out of her car. She's approaching them, yelling that Zach had hit her. The officers did not see any marks on her that showed that. And then there were also witnesses outside who said, yeah, she's not telling the truth. She was not hit. She's been doing the hitting. She is arrested for simple assault, criminal mischief, and possession of a weapon, which they referenced as her Lexus, her car, because she was out there using it for an unlawful purpose. Now, after this crazy incident, Zach and Renee, they go forward with their wedding plans, trying to, get past this affair and the damage that it has done. And he has promised to right all of his wrongs, or at least, spend the rest of his life attempting to. And 9 days after this incident at the pub on April 9th, Zach returns to it to again hang out with, his family. He gets there, and guess who is also there, child? Having a blast. Natasha. Now, why the friend slash family member allowed her to hang out there, I have no idea, but she's there. So he confronts her, tells her that she shouldn't be there. She needs to leave. Her attitude is basically, you can't tell me where I can and cannot go. In the midst of their argument, she is heard by a friend of his saying, quote, "Don't you disrespect me, motherfucker. I will run you over with my car." Once again, they're arguing so bad that they are asked to leave the place. And outside in the parking lot, Natasha actually makes good on her threat. She makes it to her car before he makes it to his, and she runs hers right into him. Zach first goes up onto the hood of the car. He is banging on the hood, telling her to stop, but she does not. And instead, Natasha mashes on the accelerator. His body then goes underneath her car and is dragged several feet down the street from the parking lot. And she stops finally with the car on top of him, crushing his chest. His friends, his cousin, other patrons of the bar who had heard the commotion and the screams coming from the pedestrians who had witnessed the entire thing, they all run outside to the site of what looks like a scene from a horror movie. He is pinned underneath the car, but his chest is now facing his back. And Natasha is still sitting inside of the car, just sitting there. Like, she cannot hear any of the commotion, any of the hysterics surrounding her car. She does not attempt to flee. She does not attempt to move her car off of the man. They call the police and she is arrested at the scene. She is charged with vehicular homicide plus 10 additional charges. And after a 3-week trial and 8 hours of deliberation by a jury, she is convicted of every single charge. Her son, who was in high school at the time that she was out here running amok, he speaks at her sentencing and pleads with the judge for leniency. He talks about how great of a mother she is, how good of a person she is, how much he misses her, and how much he needs her. Unfortunately, she wasn't also thinking about how much her son needed her. She also had her mother and stepfather come to court to advocate for her good character and also ask for mercy from the judge. In total, the judge received 11 letters from different people either related to or familiar with Natasha White, describing her as a, quote, "loving, compassionate role model who deserves mercy," and referred to what she did as a horrible accident. And the judge made it very clear by addressing the accident reference that this was no accident, judging by what they had heard during the trial. At one point during her sentencing, Natasha faces Zach's family and addresses each one of them by name and says, quote, "I loved Zachary for 3 years. You have seen us together. There is no way in your heart that you did not know that we loved each other. I loved Zach with all of my heart. There is nothing I can say that can bring him back. Words cannot say how sorry I am." Then she goes on to say, "I stand strong and I stand tall with my head held high. I am not a murderer." Girl, you should have just stopped at how sorry you are. Like, if you're not a murderer, then what are we here for? Because it damn sure ain't your birthday party, girl. Now, several of his family members and loved ones also get the opportunity to speak, and they ask the judge for the max sentence, okay? All the time you can muster up to give this girl by law, please. His mother speaks, his fiance speaks, and the judge wraps up the sentencing hearing with imposing the maximum sentence upon Miss Natasha White, which was 40 years. And she must serve 85% of it before she can consider or be considered for parole. And with her being 32 at the time and her earliest release date then being 2042, she will be 66 if she is granted parole. And if not, and she serves the whole 40, she'll be 72. Now, after her sentence is read off, her lawyer, Champ Goldman, said that they would certainly be appealing it, and also said that Zach's death was an accident and that an accident reconstruction expert will come in and show that he actually jumped onto the hood of Natasha's car, causing his death, which is insane to try to blame this man. Now, he and his client also had the audacity to say that Zach was actually drunk and she was actually trying to simply drive away and leave the bar when he had then jumped onto the hood of her car, started beating on the glass, and then she said she was too afraid too afraid to stop because she knew that he was drunk and she believed he had intended to hurt her. So she kept going, and then everything after that was just unfortunate and it was all just an accident. So in her supposed frightened state, she floored the gas pedal and she didn't even realize that he had gone underneath the car. Her lawyer said, quote, "No matter what the prosecutors or jury said, this lady is not a murderer. It was a love affair that had gone bad. I believe if she had taken the stand, she would have been acquitted." Child, they need to acquit you of practicing law, okay? Acquit you of your license. And I know I don't, bring up how the girls, with their zodiac signs, mostly because I forget now, like, I promise. But I had to look and see what this girl was, Miss Natasha White, and it's no shade, but I know y'all know what her zodiac sign is. Like, need I say, she's an Aries. I gotta watch out for them Aries, girl, they crazy. She has since filed several appeals, with the most recent one being in July of 2024. It was in 2024. I'm not so sure about the July part now that I said it. But each one have been denied, and so she is still locked up and they won't let her out, and they should not let her out. Not even at 72. Y'all know I don't talk about kids, right? Y'all know I don't. That's a soft spot, sore spot. I can't take it. I oftentimes don't have the emotional mental bandwidth. I have definitely been keeping up with this Zanaya Harris case, and when I tell y'all I am sick, like, it's so much I want to say out of anger and just disgust. We gotta bring back stoning, because when I tell you I'll come to Jarvis's, matter of fact, let's just put Jarvis, that auntie who was still putting money on his books and still saying we don't have any evidence that there was an inappropriate relationship between him and her niece. After we heard all the text messages read in court, throw the grandma in the pit too, okay? Let's just throw them in the pit, girl, and just stone them. If we could put hot coals at the bottom of the pit, then put them there, like across the hot coals, and then take our boulders. I want to bring my own from home. I'm gonna put it on a plane with me, girl. I'm bringing my own. And we just, I feel like that's very logical. I'm finna run for office. Anyway, I appreciate y'all so much for being here. I hope y'all are having a great week. I feel like I don't even know what my outro is, honestly, at this point. Child, now I got a little piece of a headache brewing because I done brought this up and raised my pressure. I hope y'all have a great week. I'll be seeing y'all in a couple days. As always, I appreciate you so much for spending your time with me, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Peace. They go on natural, not natural, girl. They go... Grr. What was I even gonna say? And see, that's why we gotta and see, that's why we have to separate. And see, that's how... I gotta figure out which one of these masks I want to use. But they all in Japanese. And I only know a little bit of Mandarin. Dian-tun. Okay? Let's throw that ass. If you know how to say in a circle, let me know in the comments, because I just gotta learn that part. Ooh. Dian-tun, ni hao, tien-chan, konnichiwa. I think they told me to stop saying konnichiwa on Red Note. I guess, I don't know, maybe that's Japanese or Korean. I like the way it feels coming off the tongue. You know what I'm saying? I like saying konnichiwa. Let's go with this one. Put this nail on it. Is that not insane? Do I not look like Tyler, the Creator now? Oh, I love these masks. She even gets a job working part-time at a bartender. Girl, what? Working as a bartender at a bar